Hey everybody, this is my 125 gallon tank. It's African themed, and the subject of today's video is going to be my Congo Tetras right here. I really wish the glass was cleaner and we didn't have all this algae to look at, but this is a very spur of the moment video. That's what I'm looking for right there. Do you see that flick? A little dance and flick? They're spawning. A buddy of mine, my neighbor next door, had two Congo Tetras in his tank that he's had for a while. He had more at one point, and over the years he's lost a few, and he was down to one male and one female. And knowing that I needed a few to add to my school because my numbers were dwindling, he offered to give me his Congos just so that they'd have a happier home and be in a group rather than two swimming around alone in his tank. So despite living right next door to me and also being on a well, his water is very different than my water. And I was a little concerned at first that the Congos might not adapt to my water. His water is very, very soft and has very, very low dissolved solids in it, whereas mine is soft, but I do have a lot of sodium. I do have a lot of dissolved solids in my water. I just did a video recently about my water. If you're interested, I'll attach a card. You can look at that. I'm not going to get into it now. But I was concerned that the fish weren't going to adapt from his almost pure water to my water, which has a lot of stuff in it, as I said. And so I spent about an hour acclimating them, and I'm making air quotes around the word acclimate because you don't really allow a fish's body time to adapt to new circumstances that quickly. You let them acquaint themselves with the water over a period of time like that, but it's still, if their bodies are going to need to do any kind of adjustment, that can take some serious time. It can take weeks sometimes, depending on how much you need to adjust and what species of fish and so on and so forth. At any rate, I was a little concerned, so when I came down this morning, I did a head count. Well, I actually didn't do a head count because I don't know how many I have in there, but I looked around the tank thoroughly, and I looked for any floaters, I looked for any fish stuck up against the filter head or the power heads or anything, and to my delight, not only is everybody alive, but they're in here spawning. They used to do this all the time, and I've not seen them spawn in quite a while. And I was kind of wondering about that. I assumed it was because the numbers had dwindled, and I actually have more females than males now. So it's possible that simply having new blood in the tank, having new fish in the tank, was enough to stir competition, and now we've got some spawning behavior going on. So obviously the males are the bright colored ones with all the streamers on the fins, and then the females are the more drab, dark ones, although the only way you can call those females drab is when you compare them to the males, because the females are beautiful in their own right, if you ask me. Of course, the males are the peacocks, they're the ones that really, really show off. So what we're seeing is a lot of displaying and showing off and competing between the two males. The two males will get side by side, they'll flicker and dance, but then when you see this kind of behavior, oh, I missed it too. Here we go. No, maybe not. He was positioning himself, allowing the female to come alongside him. And that's what they'll do. They'll get side by side if they pair off. And they'll do this little sort of wiggly dance. And then they'll flick away from each other. And if you look really closely, right at the moment they flick away, you will see the eggs being released. And these are egg scatterers. They're not laying their eggs on anything. They just scatter the eggs to the current and hope for the best. And they're really, really, really tiny little eggs. So I'm assuming that they would, actually fall down in between the granules here in my substrate. But in all the years I've had these, I've never seen so much as a single little baby Congo swimming around in the tank, and they used to spawn on practically a weekly basis. I mean, they were in here doing this all the time, and slowly but surely they've done it less and less. So it's really interesting to see that just by adding that one fish, I've now got all of this activity again. So next time I get down the fish store, this is kind of on my list. I really want to bolster this school back up. I really, really like Congo Tetras. They're one of my favorite fish. They're beautiful. I love their behavior. You do need a kind of a big tank for them. They can get almost 5 inches. The males can get pretty big, and they're swimmers. They really need a lot of room and a lot of open tank. So I wouldn't suggest even having like a 55 for these. I would suggest at least a 4-foot long tank, and 18 inches deep if it's only 4 feet. But if you can, I would do a 6-foot long tank, or 6-foot wide tank, however you want to say that. This tank is 6 feet by 18 inches, so I do have a little bit of depth, and they can swim to and fro, but they can also swim back and forth, and that's what you really need for these, if you're going to have a decent-sized group of Congo Tetras. They really are swimmers, and they need a lot of room. Other than that, they're really easy to keep. They can tolerate neutral water. They're fairly adaptable. They're Tetras, so they eat, just whatever. They readily eat flake food, floating food. They'll pick stuff off the bottom. Definitely a fish for a beginner, in my opinion, if you've got the size tank and the habitat for it. Other than that, they're very easy to keep, and they really pay off as far as being stunning fish and giving you a lot of fun, a lot of interest to watch. So that's that. I'm going to wrap this one up. I got to get off to work today. Hopefully when I get home this evening, I'll get this tank cleaned up a little bit. Maybe we'll do some before and after type video. I'd really like to see this behavior continue, and maybe we'll get to see some more close-ups of some spawns later. So thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe. You don't want to miss any of that or anything else I got coming up. Don't forget, this is my 125-gallon tank. Thanks for watching this one. I'll see you real soon in the next one. Well, we might get one last look right there in the middle. Nope, guess not. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching.